Hello, and welcome back to A Cozy Christmas Book Corner. My name is Art. I'm the host of the show, and today I wanted to share with you some of the Christmas books that I had read in the month of October. So I've got 3 book recommendations for you today that I think will put you in the Christmas mood. Now, but before we get to that, I do want to just take a minute to point you to my podcast. If you have not heard my podcast before, the links will be in the show notes, and it's called the Cozy Christmas Podcast, where I do focus a lot on books and stories, but to help celebrate the best and coziest season of the year, I love to tell stories and to share your story about what makes Christmas special for you. And on the podcast, I read classic Christmas stories. I share your memories of Christmas, as well as interview authors, musicians, folks like that, people that tell stories. So that's my podcast, and the links are in the notes. And if you're coming from my podcast, then welcome to this month's Cozy Christmas Book Corner. So the first book I want to share with you today that I read in October is called The Christmas Book: The Ultimate Guide to Your Favorite Holiday, and it is by Ed Daly. So what's this book about? Well, Christmas enthusiasts, rejoice. Here are a few hundred pages on the best day of the year. So says the back of the Christmas book. And Ed Daly asks these questions. He says, why do we kiss under the mistletoe? What on earth is figgy pudding? In what country is Kentucky Fried Chicken a Christmas delicacy? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And what sitcom had the greatest Christmas episode? What are the best adaptations of Dickens's A Christmas Carol? These are great questions that Ed Daly seeks to answer in his book. And as a Christmas podcaster and someone with a Christmas YouTube channel, I really am going to use this book. He has so many different topics that he covers. He covers everything from researching the origins of Christmas to Santa Claus to how it's developed over the centuries. He talks about Christmas food, Christmas toys, Christmas fashion, books, music, movies. Just you think of it, he probably talks about it in his book. And as a Christmas podcaster, I'm really excited to have all this information collected in one book that I can go to as a handy reference. And don't worry, Ed, I'll give you the credit. I'm not stealing anything from him. But the things that are really amazing are the chapters like the Christmas movies and Christmas music and books. He lists so many choices and has a little something to say about each of them. Same thing with Christmas on TV. And he also has a whole chapter on Dickens and Dickens's impact on Christmas. So if you are a Christmas lover or you have somebody in your family who's a Christmas nut, this would make a great gift for them. It's available on Amazon right now, and you can get it in hardcover as well as paperback. I think it would make a great like coffee table book or something you put out at Christmas time, and people can look at that and read it. Or you got family over and they need to kill some time. You don't have to read it chapter by chapter. You can jump in all over the place. So it's just perfect for that kind of light reading at Christmas time. So as I like to judge these books on a couple of these different criteria, that's the content. Secondly, is it full of Christmas spirit? And it certainly is. I mean, this book is talking Christmas from cover to cover, and Ed has done his research. It's very well researched, but it's not presented in a way that's a dry scholarly lecture. It's very conversational, very funny, but yeah, and full of Christmas spirit. He's not coming in like to attack Christmas, but yeah, he's very much in favor of Christmas and wants to just explore all of that holiday. As far as coziness goes, I would say this book isn't really that cozy. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, I would be surprised if this book did come across as a cozy read. I really got to figure out what it means to be cozy to begin with. You want to settle in under your blanket, drink some hot cocoa, sit by the Christmas tree, read a little bit about some of your favorite topics, there's chapters in there that would be suitable for. Some chapters are more of kind of a list with like a bibliography with some brief comments to it. But yeah, this is a good Christmas book. It's more informational. There's some chapters that are entertaining, but some of it's just informational, and that's fine. It's what it needs to be. And then the artwork of this book, this is a great cover. I like it. We've got Scrooge, from looks like the Disney's animated Scrooge, and then we have Mariah Carey as well. So she's there singing with Scrooge as he puts the Christmas star on top of the tree. So quite a festive book cover, and I think this cover is what makes what makes it perfect to have it setting out at Christmas time for decoration or for occasional reading. If you just want a few minutes to relax and unwind by the Christmas tree, this book will fit that need perfectly. So I recommend, first of all, The Christmas Book by Ed Daly. The second book I want to recommend is a cozy mystery, and it's called Murder at an Irish Christmas. This book was sent to me by Kensington Press to review. It is part of the Irish Village Mystery series. There looks like there are 8 books in the series right now, and this is book number 6. And what this book is about, it says, this December in Kilbane, if you're planning to warm up with a cup of tea at Naomi's Bistro, you may have a bit of a wait. The entire O'Sullivan brood has gone off to West Cork to spend the holidays with Brother James's fiancée, Elise's family, including her grandfather, the famous orchestral conductor, Enda Elliott. Siobhan is so happy for James and Elise, but also quietly disappointed that she must put her own wedding to fellow Garda Macdara Flannery on hold. Mac will have to join them later so he can spend part of the holiday with his mom. When the O'Sullivans learn everyone will choose a name from a hat to buy a music-related Christmas gift for someone else at the gathering, it seems like their greatest concern until the cantankerous conductor is discovered crushed under a 90-pound harp in a local concert hall. And there begins a wonderfully charming, cozy Irish mystery book. I don't know a lot about who Siobhan O'Sullivan is. I haven't read any of the series. The first book in the series was called Murder in an Irish Village, and that's been on my TBR list for a while, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And from my last video, I don't like to read book series out of order. I whether you can or not, I don't like to do it. And this one, about the only criticism I would have is, and it's my fault, is because I haven't read the other ones yet. So I felt a little bit lost as to who Siobhan was and what her job was and who some of the characters were. But again, that's because I didn't start from the beginning, and that's just not how my brain works. And maybe you won't have a problem with that. Maybe you will. That being said, I would more than say, start with book 1 and read through the series. So it looks like the series typically takes place in Kilbane, which this story doesn't. And so a lot of it, it's like kind of an unusual book for me to read first off in the series. So that's my only issue I had with the book. Otherwise, it was a good mystery. It was Christmassy in parts. It's kind of a grisly murder for a mystery, but again, that's the charm of these cozy mysteries, is that they take this really cozy, charming setting and then put something grisly in it. But the murder itself is not graphic at all. So if you're squeamish, you shouldn't have to worry about that. As far as Christmas spirit goes, this book is full of Christmas spirit. Siobhan is there to celebrate with her brother's fiance's family, and unfortunately, there is a murder. But they are there to celebrate Christmas. That there's going to be a Christmas orchestra playing. Some of the side plots include trying to find the perfect Secret Santa gift that has to be music related. But especially if you are buying for a professional musician, what do you buy? They have what they need probably, or what they don't need, or what they don't have. How can you even afford it or even know what to buy to begin with? As a parent of someone who's very quickly becoming a very professional musician, I understood Siobhan's struggles with that. What do you buy? What kind of music gift do you buy someone who loves music and knows music so much? Anyway, that's just a side plot, but it's part of what makes the series feel very Christmassy. So it is full of great Christmas spirit. And as far as the coziness goes, it is a very cozy mystery. Although, again, the things that might take away from it are, the murder, having this giant 90-pound harp dropped on someone. Overall, I would definitely recommend this book. My last book to mention this time that I read in October is Mrs. Claus and the Halloween Homicide, which is, again, by Liz Ireland. I just had her on the podcast last month, as well as I reviewed her first book in the series, Mrs. Claus and the Santaland Slayings, in my first Book Corner video. And so this is book 2. I don't usually read books 1 and 2. I've got some weird reading habits, so I don't usually read a book series all in a row like this. But I really wanted to read this book around Halloween time. I'm not actually done with it yet, but I really, really have enjoyed this read as well. So what is happening here is Mrs. Claus, 1 year later, is now is wanting to introduce the holiday of Halloween to Santaland. Now, some of the elves are on board with it. That sounds like fun. The kids seem excited about it, all that. But there's a few factions of elves that think Christmas should remain Christmas only and not bring in this crazy new holiday that Mrs. Claus wants to bring in. So the cultures clash. In the first book, it was like a fish out of water kind of story. Now, this one kind of explores that idea of when cultures clash. When Mrs. Claus, who married, the new Santa, she's bringing in her own culture, her own celebrations and things to a very different world. In case you haven't read the series before, this is your first video. Mrs. Claus is April Claus. She married Nick Claus, and he reveals to her that he's Santa. And so she spends most of her year at the North Pole or in Santaland and has adventures. Well, in this story, an outspoken elf who is against Halloween, Tiny Sparkletoes, is found brutally murdered. It looks like as if he had been stomped or squished by a giant snow monster. But April Claus thinks that maybe there is something afoot. So she begins to investigate the murder of Tiny Sparkletoes. And it turns out that there may be more than one person who wants this guy dead. There is plenty of Christmas spirit in the book, and there is some Halloween spirit there too. So I would say this is good reading at Halloween time or Christmas time. You could do either. But really a book you could read any time of the year again. And it is a cozy mystery. It's definitely cozy. It gives me all the warm cozies as I read it, more so than any of the other books I've been reading and reviewing on here. And I think this has to do with, first of all, the characters. They are so fun to read about, and how it just takes the cozy mystery genre and turns it and places it in such a unique setting like the North Pole. It just works. I love reading about the elves. I love reading about Santa and his family. I love reading about April's exploits as she's trying to solve this murder and to see who is trying to stop them from celebrating Halloween. I'm halfway through here of book 2, and I'm just ready to follow these characters wherever they go. I know she mentioned in the interview that she has a third book she's working on that will come out next year, and I'm there for it. I think this is going to become one of my new all-time favorite mystery series because, again, the characters are so good. The setting is one that I am deeply interested in. And she manages to walk that line. I mean, this is a series that could have epically failed, that could have just been awful, but she manages to take the fancy, she takes the magic with the realism, and it's just a perfect mixture. The mysteries are intriguing, and well thought out. The characters are developing in very interesting ways, and the whole mythology she's created, this whole world building that she's created, is a wonderful escape from from our reality. So I can't wait to see what Mrs. Claus is going to do next. And so stay tuned to this channel because when the third book comes out next year, I will definitely be talking about it. And then as far as the cover art goes, again, another beautiful job done on the cover art. Just simple, Christmassy, some hints of Halloween there, and it's great. It's done again by Christine Mills and Olivia Holmes. So again, ladies, well done on a good cover design. I forgot to mention the cover design of my last one as well. That is some nice work. I don't know who did it. I don't have that information in front of me. The book is at home, but I'll check that out and put the link or put the names in the show notes there for that. All right, so those are my 3 choices. And again, I would love to hear from you if you have a Christmas book you'd like me to review and read. Link that in the show notes or link that in the comments below, and I'll put it on my TBR list. I'll be doing these videos about once a month or so. So next month, of course, will be December. I'll be sharing with you what I read during this month of November. I'll give you a hint. It's another cozy mystery. So I will see you next month. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. I've got a lot of fun things coming up this month, some author interviews, as well as a reading I'll be doing in the month of December that I'm very excited about. So more information on that in my podcast. So you can check that out in the links below. So until next time, I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas and happy reading.